The Somerton Beach Mystery. On December 1st, 1948, an unidentified man was found dead on Somerton Beach near Adelaide, Australia. He carried no wallet or ID, and every clothing label had been removed, making it impossible to trace where his clothes were bought or tailored. In his pockets were everyday items: chewing gum, matches, cigarettes, and a used bus ticket to Glenelg, but nothing that revealed his identity. Weeks later, a hidden pocket in his trousers revealed a torn scrap of paper reading Tamam Shud, Persian for ended or finished, traced to a rare edition of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. In mid-1949, police located that exact copy of the book in a car in Glenelg. Inside were two intriguing clues: a handwritten series of letters believed to be a code, still unsolved today, a phone number belonging to a local woman, later identified as Jessica Thompson, known publicly for years only as Jeston. She denied knowing the man, and although she did not demand anonymity, police protected her identity at the time, which stalled leads for decades. The autopsy found no signs of violence. A fast-acting poison was suspected, yet no toxic substance was detected. His fingerprints matched no one in Australia or abroad. Clothing labels were removed, and the mysterious note fueled theories of espionage or a secret affair. In 2022, thanks to advanced DNA genealogy, many experts now believe the Somerton man was Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer from Melbourne. But how he died, why he was there, and the meaning of the code remain unanswered, keeping one of the world's most haunting mysteries very much alive. The Delphi Murders. On February 13, 2017, two teenagers, Abigail Williams and Liberty German, were hiking on the Monon High Bridge Trail in Delphi, Indiana. When they didn't return home, a search began, and their bodies were found the next day, February 14th, near Deer Creek, just off the trail. Before their deaths, Liberty managed to record a man walking behind them on the bridge. On her phone, investigators recovered a short video clip and a few seconds of audio in which the man can be heard saying, "Guys, down the hill." This remains the most crucial piece of evidence in the case. For years, the case baffled investigators. Two police sketches were released, the first depicting an older man, the second a much younger one, leading to widespread confusion. Authorities later clarified that both sketches represented the same suspect at different stages of the investigation based on evolving witness information. Despite national attention, extensive online sleuthing, and emerging investigative technology, no arrest was made for over 5 years. In October 2022, police arrested Richard Allen, a local Delphi resident, and charged him with the murders. The evidence against him has not been fully released to the public, and the case has faced numerous legal delays and controversy, leaving questions still unanswered. Although a suspect is finally awaiting trial, many details, including the motive, whether others were involved, and what exactly was captured on Libby's phone, remain sealed, keeping the mystery of Delphi very much alive. The Vanishing of Brian Shaffer. On the night of April 1st, 2006, 27-year-old medical student Brian Shaffer went out with friends to the Ugly Tuna Saloon, a bar in Columbus, Ohio. Security cameras captured Brian and his friends riding up the escalator to the bar, and later recorded Brian stepping outside the bar's entrance area shortly after 1:15 a.m., speaking briefly with two women. Moments later, he is seen re-entering the bar. That is the last confirmed video sighting of him. Strangely, the cameras never captured him leaving. The main exits were monitored by surveillance, and no footage ever showed Brian walking out. The only other exit led to a construction area that would have been difficult, though not impossible, to navigate in the dark and while intoxicated, but no evidence indicated he left that way. His phone stopped showing activity after his disappearance. There were no bank withdrawals, credit card use, medical records, or passport activity. His apartment showed no sign of packing or plans to leave. Years later, in 2008, Brian's girlfriend called his phone, and it rang 3 times before going to voicemail. The phone company later said this could have been a glitch, not proof of activity. Police reviewed hours of footage, interviewed patrons, checked hospitals, airports, homeless shelters, and even searched the sewer system. No trace of Brian has ever been found. To this day, investigators and the public are left with an unnerving mystery. Did Brian Shaffer leave the bar undetected, or did he somehow vanish inside a building with no clear way out? The Circleville letter writer. In 1976, residents of Circleville, Ohio, began receiving anonymous, threatening letters. The writers seemed to know intimate secrets about marriages, affairs, and family matters, details not publicly known. Each letter was written in the same blocky, cold, emotionless handwriting. One of the primary targets was school bus driver Mary Gillespie, accused of having a secret affair with the school superintendent. Soon after the letters began, Mary's husband, Ron Gillespie, received a letter warning him to stop trying to identify the writer. In August 1977, Ron died in a crash after reportedly leaving home in anger to confront the letter writer. The official ruling was an accident, though some claimed a gun had been fired in his truck, raising suspicions. The harassment continued for years. In 1983, Mary discovered a booby trap on her bus route, a sign on a pole concealing a loaded gun rigged to fire. Investigators traced the gun back to her former brother-in-law, Paul Freshour. He denied involvement, but was convicted of attempted murder and sent to prison. Yet the letters did not stop. They were postmarked from cities across Ohio, even while Paul was behind bars. The writer taunted authorities, suggesting the wrong person had been jailed. Handwriting analysis was inconclusive, and many argued Paul had been framed or that someone else had used his gun. After Paul's release in 1994, the letters eventually ceased. That only deepened the mystery. Was Paul the mastermind all along? Did someone continue the campaign for him? Or was the real writer never caught and simply chose to stop? To this day, the true identity of the Circleville letter writer remains unknown, making it one of America's strangest and most unsettling unsolved stalking cases. The Springfield Three. On June 7, 1992, Cheryl Levitt, her 19-year-old daughter Susie Streeter, and Susie's friend Stacy McCall vanished from Levitt's home in Springfield, Missouri. Susie and Stacy had attended graduation celebrations that night and originally planned to sleep at a friend's house. But after last-minute changes, they returned to Susie's home in the early morning hours. What they walked into, or what happened after they arrived, has never been determined. Inside the house, police found no signs of a struggle. Purses, keys, cars, and cigarettes were left behind. Beds appeared slept in. The porch light globe was shattered, and the TV was on, later described as showing static. The family dog was inside, anxious but unharmed. By morning, all three women were gone. No forced entry, no ransom, no witnesses who heard a thing. A green Dodge van was reported near the home that night, but it was never traced. An anonymous tip later claimed the women were buried beneath a parking garage south of the city, but by the time this was investigated, construction was complete, and digging it up would require tearing down the structure, a step authorities have never taken. Decades of timeline reconstructions lead to the same chilling truth. 3 women disappeared from a home in the middle of the night, leaving behind almost no physical evidence at all. The Springfield Three remain one of America's most baffling missing persons cases. The Beaumont Children. On January 26, 1966, 3 siblings, Jane, 9, Arna, 7, and Grant Beaumont, 4, took a short bus ride to Glenelg Beach near Adelaide, Australia. It was a routine trip. They had gone many times before. The beach was crowded with families celebrating Australia Day, and nothing seemed unusual. Witnesses later reported seeing the children playing with a tall, slim, blond man, estimated to be in his 30s. He appeared relaxed and friendly, interacting with them as if he already knew them. The children showed no fear. They laughed, played, and willingly followed him. One witness recalled Jane carrying a small purse she hadn't left home with, suggesting the man had either bought them food or given them money. Investigators later considered the possibility that this was not their first encounter with him. When the children failed to return home that afternoon, their mother contacted the police. A massive search began immediately. Beaches, parks, drains, buildings, and surrounding suburbs were combed. Thousands of volunteers and officers joined the search, yet not a single trace, no clothing, towels, or belongings, was ever found. Days later, a bakery worker confirmed the children had bought pastries that morning using money they didn't have when they left home. This reinforced the idea that the man had earned their trust. Months later, the Beaumont family received letters, supposedly written by Jane, claiming the children were safe and living with a kind guardian. A meeting was arranged based on the letters, but no one showed up. Forensic analysis later confirmed the letters were a cruel hoax, written by an unrelated man. Over the years, hundreds of suspects were investigated. Several known child offenders lived in the area at the time. One man matched witness descriptions. Another suspiciously left Adelaide shortly after the disappearance. Various confessions surfaced but were later discredited. Tips pointed to potential burial sites, including beneath a demolished factory, but excavations found nothing. Despite one of the most extensive investigations in Australia's history, no confirmed sighting or physical evidence has ever been uncovered. No remains, no belongings, no answers. The disappearance of the Beaumont children changed child safety attitudes in Australia forever, and remains one of the nation's most haunting and heartbreaking mysteries. The Black Dahlia Murder. On January 15, 1947, the body of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short was discovered in a vacant lot in Los Angeles. The scene was so unusual and carefully staged that it immediately shocked investigators and the public. The way her body was positioned suggested the killer wanted the discovery to feel theatrical, almost like a twisted message. The condition of her remains showed a level of precision and control that pointed towards someone with medical knowledge or experience handling anatomy, leading detectives to consider surgeons, doctors, and wartime medics as possible suspects. Days after the crime made headlines, local newspapers began receiving letters from someone claiming responsibility. The packages included several of Elizabeth's personal items, all carefully cleaned to avoid leaving fingerprints. The writer taunted police, promising more clues while mocking their inability to catch him. Over the years, investigators questioned more than 150 people, ranging from medical professionals to Hollywood acquaintances, but none were ever definitively tied to the crime. Key files vanished over time, some evidence was mishandled, and rumors of internal pressure within the LAPD only added more confusion. Despite decades of theories, books, and alleged confessions, no one has ever been charged. The Black Dahlia remains one of the most unsettling, unsolved mysteries in American history, known not just for the brutality of the crime, but for the precision, planning, and theatricality behind it, and for the chilling fact that the killer may have been someone the public trusted. Tylenol Murders. On September 29, 1982, a healthy 12-year-old girl in the Chicago area suddenly collapsed and died within minutes. That same day, a 27-year-old postal worker and a 27-year-old mother also died just as suddenly. Within hours, 4 more people, including 2 members of the same family, died under the same mysterious circumstances. Different ages, different backgrounds, different neighborhoods. No obvious connection. Doctors were baffled. Victims died too rapidly for treatment, and early symptoms gave no clue as to the cause. Then, investigators noticed the one link. Every victim had taken extra-strength Tylenol shortly before collapsing. Bottles were seized from homes, stores, and hospitals. At first glance, the capsules looked normal, standard red and blue gelatin pills. But chemical testing revealed the truth. Several capsules had been replaced with potassium cyanide, a lethal poison that kills in minutes. The pattern ruled out a manufacturing or shipping issue. The tainted bottles came from different lots, different stores, and different suburbs. This meant the tampering happened on store shelves. The killer had walked into ordinary pharmacies, opened bottles, laced capsules with cyanide, and returned them for unsuspecting shoppers to buy. There was no pattern among victims, no clear motive, no message, just random death by chance. When the story broke, panic swept across the U.S. Families threw out all Tylenol products. Stores pulled the brand nationwide. Johnson & Johnson recalled 31 million bottles, one of the largest consumer recalls in history. The case led to safety seal packaging laws that still exist today. During the investigation, a man named James W. Lewis sent a letter demanding $1 million to stop the killing. He was convicted of attempted extortion, but investigators found no evidence linking him to the actual poisonings. He denied involvement until his death. The killer left no fingerprints. Security cameras were scarce. No credible confession has ever surfaced. 7 people died, and millions feared they could be next. More than 40 years later, the Tylenol murders remain unsolved. A chilling reminder that sometimes the most dangerous killer hides in plain sight, tampering with something everyone trusts. This mystery may be over, but the next one will keep you up at night. Watch now.